at fighting you. And I feel like in the last 2 games, they just didn't have a chance to do it. So I really like this draft from them, and I think they have a way to, battle out against Spirit. But at the same time, I see a way for Spirit to deal with a Tinker. I don't think it's an uncountered Tinker. I just think of the way Yatoro plays. I could easily see him, get on top of the Tinker and pick him off in a fight, come in from the sides with Meld, and, read the movement correctly. Because one of the themes for me about Team Spirit victories has been vision. And vision is the best way to deal with Tinker. This hero abuses vision better than most heroes. So I think the vision war that's going to happen between Spirit and LGD is going to be really interesting.
Already going to see both teams head to head it.
Read the movement. I don't think it's an... They don't have a chance to do seen from them. This feels the most LGD. I felt like in the last game they didn't really have a way to fight. I feel like LGD's like proven we're one of the best teams at fighting you. And I feel like in the last 2 games they just didn't have a chance to do it. So I really like this draft from them, and I think they have a way to, battle out against Spirit. But at the same time, I see a way for Spirit to deal with a Tinker. I don't think it's an uncountered Tinker. I just think of the way Yatoro plays. I could easily see him, get on top of the Tinker and pick him off in a fight, come in from the sides with Meld, and, read the movement correctly. Because one of the themes for me about Team Spirit victories has been vision. And vision is the best way to deal with Tinker. This hero abuses vision better than most heroes. So I think the vision war that's going to happen between Spirit and LGD is going to be really interesting.
Already going to see both teams head to head it. Any sort of catch from either of them. White going to try and hide in the pit. The rocket's starting to come out from nothing to say. As Team Spirit, they will back up in either side, able to get the grab that they wanted to potentially get that first blood. But let's see, as you say, definite potential here for PSG.LGD and their lineup. But as we've seen so far, 2 games in which Team Spirit have looked to be completely in their comfort zone. And it does seem the pressure, it's certainly more so there for PSG.LGD in this series.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I agree with something No-Tail said, where like if this game starts looking bad, if the early game doesn't really go their way, I could easily see some potential crumbling coming out from LGD. But I feel like they have the makings of a good draft. When I look at it objectively, if this was like a first game of the series, I haven't seen either of these 2 teams play, I would have favored LGD's draft. I like what they're coming into this game with. They're setting up strong lanes, and they have Tinker to like kind of provide the damage for later team fights.
One thing, though, to me that sort of stands out looking at the lineup of PSG.LGD, whilst they've definitely got a lot of heroes to create that vision, set up for the Tinker to go crazy in the team fight, sort of similar to, I believe, the Game 1 draft, there's not a lot of stuns.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I think the idea here for them is that you're not really going to be committing into fights. You're not jumping a hero and then just trying to stun him and lock him down and chase him down. You're rather trying to burst somebody really quick and then resetting out. So the idea of using Rupture and then dropping Tombstone is going to be their key way of team fighting. And then you're going to use Rubic primarily for counter initiation. So when somebody comes into your backline, or when somebody chases down the Bloodseeker, that's when you'll see the Rubic coming with lift. That's when he's going to come in with a clutch tornado or something along those lines.
Let's see how these lanes end up panning out here in the early game. Yatoro on his PA, as we said. This time a hero that he has already pulled out on the main stage.
I love this from Yatoro. If we take a look at the bottom lane, he's so good at doing this. As soon as you see XinQ run for this block on the small camp, he doesn't care if he misses a creep or 2. Just immediately runs over, makes sure they get that pressure. XinQ's immediately forced to TP out. So that's mana. That's a Fade Bolt that he's not going to be able to use on them. Plus he doesn't have a TP. So just really nice gameplay from Yatoro, helping out his position 5 player win these trades.
Not even stepping up there, trying to get connection onto XinQ, but smartly keeping his distance. We'll have to watch out when the level 2s are hit. I mean, this lane in general, when you see the Bloodseeker Rubic, do you feel that that is a lane that the PA can struggle against, or is it not too bad?
I think it's the kind of lane where they can kill the Rubic. Oh, and here we go. This might be first blood.
They're going to try. They get in the Thunder Strikes there, Maposhka. First blood for him down in this lane. The trades favoring them here between the supports.
Yeah, so if you think about how the lane is structured, Bloodseeker Rubic, they want to slowly like harass you out of the lane. And if you think about Disruptor PA, it's a similar story. But Disruptor PA have kill threat on Rubic because the silence from Bloodseeker is so slow that he can't really save his Rubic if they go on him.
My goodness, look at this aggression in mid. Toronto, Tokyo, really building back, nothing to say.
Yep. He does have his bottle though, and the water runes are up, so he should be easily be able to run to the top one and pick it up for himself. Yeah, up top, Collapse is taking a lot of pressure here from the Spectre Undying. I think the Spectre Undying is an interesting lane because you won't really see the Spectre connecting as much as the PA is to his carry and helping him, but he'll provide the vision from the dagger. There will always be that slow that enables Undying to get more hits in.
Sure, and you feel it's unlikely for the Mag and the Willow to ever really get on top of this Spectre in the lane?
I think, so the idea for the top lane is that the Undying's going to tank a lot of damage. He's going to be in your face. You're going to have to be hitting the Undying and dealing with his mana for the first portion of the game. And that will lead the Spectre to get a lot of farm for free. However, the Undying has an issue because he runs out of mana at some point and he runs out of healing. And usually when he does that, he's forced to reset back. And then Spectre can take some pressure. But so far, it seems like Wyatt's doing a good job. He's just blocking out these camps, providing vision. But you see this, Mira's immediately on top of de-warding the ward. He reads it perfectly.
Yeah. Knew exactly where it was heading. Well, we'll go for the quick trip back to base here. See mid. Toronto Tokyo is going to have to take the walk back, so a bit of space given to Nothing to Say as he is starting to get ahead in this matchup, getting a good few denies in against the Invoker.
Yep, and the Invoker's going to lose a full creep over experience here, plus the bottle refill from White. This is great gameplay from LGD, and I think this looks characteristic of LGD, right? You expect to see them do these things where they're optimizing everything that's happening. Y runs in, drops the ward, denies himself the tower, blocks the Ancients, TP's mid, refills the bottle for Nothing to Say. This doesn't look like a phase team to me, you know? We were a little bit worried that maybe they're going to be feeling a little bit of tilt or pressure, but the way they're playing right now, looks like their head's in the game.
A solid start on the lane so far. Toronto Tokyo, he wants to try and play for the 4-minute rune, but won't manage to do so. Extra backup was on its way over for PSG.LGD to keep control of that.
Yeah, so you notice both 4s are rotating for the runes, right? And in this situation, the Bloodseeker's pretty fine bottom. He can't really be harassed out of the lane because of how the Thirst functions, and he just keeps regaining HP for every last set that he gets. Meanwhile, the Mag up top, who's laning against the Undying, runs into this impossible block where he can't really rock up to the lane and get gold. And I think as long as they play this rune game where they force the position 4 in Mira to rotate towards the middle lane, LGD's going to come out with a little bit of an edge out of the laning phase.
Oh, their core is definitely looking comfortable so far.
No, you don't.
Yep. We see Miposhka rotating over mid, setting up vision. There's so much vision around this middle lane for the Dire side. They don't want this Tinker to go down.
Yeah, almost impossible to close in on Nothing to Say with this sort of setup from the team. It's going to ensure that he does get this good start.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you take a look at the CS, you notice the Invoker's really falling behind. The Tinker almost has as many denies as the Invoker has last set. So, like No-Tail and Seb mentioned, right, this is one of the best Tinker players in the entire world, and he's living up to that praise that he received on the panel.
But would you imagine that, even though it did get through as the last pick, do you think it was something that Team Spirit would have had in mind? They knew that this was going to be, yeah, there was potential of this coming up as the last pick for PSG.LGD.
If I'm being honest, I don't feel like they really addressed the Tinker in their draft. I think this Invoker was more like a, this is what we're going to go with, as Miposhka's in trouble.
They're going to try and chase him down. He does get the kinetic field off. Yutoro tries to turn towards Fabian, but the backup's there from White. He's trying to commit Yutoro, but can he get the kill in time? But stick charges, Yutoro's going to try and run him down, but Fabian is out to the side. Yutoro's not got the further vision. He is going to be able to jump out of the Bloodbright, though. Over to the creep wave.
The zombie gives vision.
See if they can chase him under the tower. They can't. Oh, they can! Oh, they get him!
The zombie vision.
They still manage to see him there as XinQ reaches in with a hard-hitting Fade Bolt.
Actually, I do believe that was a Thirst vision.
And now Miposhka. I mean, this is going to be potentially another one. Could they get him as well?
There's no man on the Rubic, but he has boots.
I mean, XinQ, he wants to dive in for this. He has taken quite a few tower hits here. Toronto Tokyo will TP over. XinQ, he'll get punished for this dive. See if Toronto Tokyo can find anything more here. Why still under the tower? No TP, no mana. So they do dive in to get an extra kill on the Disruptor Miposhka, but they lose 2 heroes for it. Toronto Tokyo, pretty nice kills for him as well, considering the slower start he was having in comparison to Nothing to Say in the mid. So being able to make that move and pick up 2 kills on the Invoker, that's going to get his early game back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. But we touched on this in the VP versus Team Spirit draft, how it's very important that you get earn charges on the Invoker, right? This is what enables the Invoker to play his game and be faster on the map. Unfortunately, he has not yet bought his earn, so despite getting these 2 kills, he doesn't fulfill the objective of getting 2 earn charges in the early game. So while it is good for them, it also has its drawbacks, and this is in large part due to how well Nothing to Say played his lane out.
There's been a lot less focus now around top as Collapse happily farming here in the lane against Arme, getting just as much as the Spectre. And that's got to be, after Game 2's performance, probably something to fear if your PSG.LGD collapse. I believe ending 2-0 and 20 in Game 2 on his back.
Yeah, absolutely. Middle lane, nothing to say is getting pressured. But you see here what Seb and No-Tail talked about. They don't really have the damage to punish him. They don't have the tools to really kill him. The Invoker is good at catching him, but he's not a hero that can stay on top of him and keep outputting damage, because as soon as you've used your spells, that's kind of all you have in the tank. And in the bottom lane, you notice here how Yatoro doesn't feel as safe sitting on the lane. When the wave is pushed out, he's forced to move away from there because the Rupture is up now and they have the ability to go on him. So you can look at Team Spirit's positioning. They're expecting something to happen down here.
They certainly are. Yatoro just trying to farm with the dagger from the blur.
Invoker's resetting back on the lane as well in the middle lane to set up for a potential TP.
Let's see if XinQ and Faith Bian feel that they can strike. They're being careful. They know that a reaction will come out if they decide to try and dive in on Yatoro, so they won't fall for it.
But yeah, so far you notice as soon as the wave goes out of his tower, he's forced off. And Spectre's just comfortably sitting top. He knows that he can lane against the Mag at this point and doesn't really feel the pressure. However, you know, despite all of this, Spirit does have a slight gold lead all around.
Incredibly close though. PSG.LGD, they're bringing extra numbers down bottom white. He's ready to join. They want to dive in for Yatoro. They commit with the Rupture here. Horn over as well. They're in onto the PA. Yatoro will fall. See if they can get Maposhka as well with the four of them and the Tombstone down. They certainly can. The pressure mounting from PSG.LGD down on this bottom lane. They know that they can get in and get away with this, especially with the global backup of armor.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the strengths of Undying in the early game, because once you place that Tombstone, the enemy team doesn't really want to TP in. They couldn't really respond with their heroes the way they wanted to. Mirror started his TP, but immediately canceled it, recognizing that, you know what, I can't TP into this Tombstone. It's not going to be a good fight for me.
It's a collapse. Trying to play around with XinQ. They do have further members coming up. Team Spirit off the back of those deaths down bottom. You know, Yatoro, he'll move himself up to the top half of the map to farm up here. Tier 1 tower will be lost. PSG.LGD with an early objective.
Yep. They're just evening out the map, swapping sides here. You see even a scan going out on the trees, making sure that nothing's here setting up. And one of the best ways to deal with Tinker is that you want to try to get these early towers, because Tinker abuses the towers on the map in order to fight. It provides him with safety, a place that he can TP to, come in and out, use all of his mana, go back to base, do it again. So it's important for Team Spirit to try to get the towers early, because once Tinker comes online, it's going to be very difficult for them to do it.
Let's see what they look to head over next. Spirit staying together. I'll take some of the jungle away from PSG.LGD.
Yeah, so Tinker just finished up the Blink. This is going to be their first timing to fight. You have Rupture up. Look for that Rupture into Tombstone combination once more, with a Tinker TPing in and dropping lasers and rockets.
We'll have to be done without the Horn. That's still out for about 80 seconds.
It looks like they're playing it patient. They don't feel rushed to make this move yet. And this is another of the nice parts about Undying. Unlike most 5s, he has the ability to farm jungle camps quite easily, because he just drops a Tombstone, and the Tombstone deals damage over time and spawns all these zombies that allow him to farm these camps and get some extra gold. So he's closing in on a 6th.
And Yatoro, the space is here. Clearing up the stacks. Keeping his farm on par with that of Arme. Having an equally good time, of course, building straight into the stats right now. Falcon Blade into the S&Y, he has the buff up with the Empower.
Yep. As soon as that Empower runs out, look at Collapse. He immediately runs over. And this goes back to what Seb talked about, right? This game is more about the Empower. They're not playing around the Skewer in the same way that they were in the previous games. As a smoke coming down bottom.
So if the 3 members of Spirit can find some action, they do have 6 on the supports. Static Storm and the Fear ready to play with. PSG.LGD, they're doing a great job of avoiding this. Arme is down here on his own.
Jax thinks Radiant's bottom tower.
Yeah, it looks like they're waiting for the Haunt, but Arme is about to get caught. Spirit have sniffed him out.
Let's see if the 3 have the damage. Try and set up with the root, but not going to get the connection. The glimpse back is there into the Static Storm. TPs are coming over. Arme, is he tanky enough to live through the Static Storm? He's still alive, and in fact he's able to turn. The Tornado does catch him, but isn't enough damage. Arme will live, and it will be Spirit that lose the 2 heroes off the back of that attempt.
Yep, and in the meanwhile, you see, as always, Team Spirit really smart about their map movement. Yatoro moves into the enemy jungle, starts farming here. Tinker's forced to come top and defend the tower. And despite losing their 2 supports, they're applying the pressure. And whenever Tombstone's used, you're going to see LGD kind of wait up. So this is 40 seconds that they know Yatoro is most likely going to be allowed to farm pretty freely. And that's why he's up here in the top lane playing so aggressively. Collapse is the next target.
Trying to chase Faith beyond. Not going to get in range for the Rupture. Collapse into the trees, hard to find. They won't get the setup. And halfway towards his Blink Dagger Collapse.
Yep, much better vision game this time around for LGD. Their wards are not getting dewarded the same way they were in the previous games. They actually have quite a lot of vision here to play with, and a lot more information than we've seen them have in the previous 2 games of the series.
There's a calm start here once again, but very close. 13 minutes in, less than 1k in it. PSG.LGD, despite the 2 rough games they've had so far against Spirit, seemingly regaining their control that's managed to drive them straight through the upper bracket into this grand finals. Let's see if they can keep it up. Bottom, Spirit. Start for a bit of a poke on to White. Just the 2 of them is not enough to deal with the Undying. Not going to look to commit anything else here, Spirit. They know there's potentially backup behind the Undying.
Yeah, and the Tinker's deciding to go for the Aghanim Scepter. The way this works is whenever he lasers someone, they lose a chunk of their maximum HP. So versus these type of heroes that Team Spirit has, he's going to be very, very quick at killing them all.
Look at this quick move. Yatoro, he's in under Faith beyond. They're looking to try and burst the Bloodseeker, but the counterplay comes in. Arme with the horn, looks to Collapse, jumps over towards Yatoro. Yatoro driving the TPA, he's away. But Collapse, there'll be no escape for him.
Yeah, just great presence here from LGD. Now they're the ones that are allowed to respond, and it seems like they understand now how Spirit's playing the pace of the map, and they understand what Spirit wants to do. They're going to make assumptions based on your movement, and it feels like LGD are getting a better and better read of it. And yeah, I think that's largely due to the fact that they're able to establish more vision on the map this time around.
Radiant are scanning.
Yatoro, back to the farm, wants to at least get his S&Y done before turning up to the fights. Or even with just that, the BKB may be something that he wants to hold back until he has as well. Tinker Laser will never be fun to play against as a PA when he's trying to focus targets. That's bottom lane. See another attempt with a static storm. This time round, do they have enough damage? They've got the catch onto Arme. He's trying to get away, but he will fall. This time round, Spirit, they'll get the big kill, but it has cost them both supports lives. We'll see Toronto Tokyo trying to escape, but they got any way to find him here.
There's one more sentry.
He's into the trees. He's out for the
There is a loop, that a glimpse.
Oh! Not quite able to get round to the trees to get that setup as Toronto Tokyo makes it out of there. They lose 2 supports, they get the Spectre. You happy with that if you're Spirit?
I think Spirit's okay with it. I think this is like, LGD recognize that our Tinker is so strong right now. There's no real counterplay. Even if the PA gets on top of him right now, the PA doesn't deal enough damage to burst them. So I think for LGD, you want to try to abuse this timing where your Tinker's very strong and he's outputting damage. And Ahmed dying once or twice here or there while he doesn't have Haunt isn't the worst for them, as long as they get some sort of response in return.
Back to the farming, and
Radiant's middle tower is under
800 or so, the axe to be done on Arme. They are on track to hit a very good timing. And we've seen already the responses from PSG.LGD each and every time Spirit try and make a move have been top tier. But now the move that Spirit can make, it's going to be much more deadly. Collapse, the Blink Dagger on its way over to be in his hands. We saw what he was achieving last game when he was jumping all over the place. Let's see if he can pull it off again and start to literally tear PSG.LGD apart with his abilities to just grab them and throw them around the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. But this game is much more challenging than the previous ones. There's going to be rockets flying at you. There's going to be tombstone zombies. You have many things that are going to get in your face, as well as the Bloodseeker, Bloodright. So he's going to have to both navigate these spells and make sure that he doesn't get caught before that. Plus, on top of that, there's a Haunt, right, to provide all this vision for LGD. So I feel like the way the game is shaping up, it's falling a lot into Yatoro's hands. And he's proven that he can do it.
Yes.
But his farm and the way he plays his teamfight out is going to be very key in order for them to be able to stand a chance against LGD.
No, absolutely. As I say, this BKB, if he can get this quickly, that's going to be a huge nuisance. Not too much they can do through it. The Rupture being the main one. But if the setup's there and Collapse, Maposhka, Mirror, they're able to hold the heroes in position. This PA is not going to have to step around the fight too much. As long as they're able to stand in position and get the hits in, they can have the heroes brought to them.
Absolutely. Ahmed finished up his Aghanim's, and once they get this timing coming, you see LGD immediately smoke up. They're checking for wards. They drop a sentry to block the Ancients. They know the PA is playing in this area. Unfortunately, they just made the wrong guess. So you either here are going to assume that he's at the 2 camps up in where they are right now, or that he's playing at the Ancients. But look at Yatoro. He sniffs it out.
It's so hard to catch this man. He's just always a step ahead.
No, I mean, the way they're reading the map is just very intelligent. I think they realize when the Spectre runs back to base that, hey, something's probably happening, right? He's not just running back to base because he wants to. They know that the item is very likely coming. And then when all the heroes then disappear, that is like another sign for Yatoro to be like, okay, I can't show.
See the attempt onto Toronto Tokyo down bottom. Zame, he'll jump over, Sentry still down. Toronto Tokyo will try and hide himself in the trees, but they'll stay on top. Same time over towards the mid, they will lose faith beyond. The counterplay was made by Spirit. So the TP out as well. As Mira gets back to safety, so 1 for 1 across the map here.
2 seconds for the skewer. Glimpse. Skewer back.
They've got the dagger slow to set it up. He's able to dodge the decay nicely so that he didn't get hit, could still get the blink off. But now Arme, he's ready to come back in. Yatoro's off to the side. The rocket's not enough, but nothing to say. Jumps in to finish him off. The fear, the counterplay here from Spirit. Nothing to say, is caught underneath the tower. Have they got enough damage here for the Willow and the Magnus? The start onto the two of them underneath the tower. Nothing to say. Surely going to go down. He will collapse. Skewer over into the trees. Collapse. He's still alive here. Can they quite find him? Wise coming back over. Steps into collapse. Finally, they burst in with a fade ball. But this battle underneath the tower, it's costing PSG.LGD lives as well. The route down, catching the two, pushing them back into it with a deafening blast. Arme, he's going to turn back over towards Toronto Tokyo. He's going to jump in, close the gap onto the Invoker Mirror Push. Can they help him out? They cannot. Arme able to finish off Toronto Tokyo as well.
That was beautiful. I love the way Nothing to Say played that team fight. He recognized that if this PA is dead, there's no damage coming out of the Spirit draft. So trading his life for PA is really what enabled this entire fight to happen. You'll see a lot of Tinker players just, you know, they're like, I'm not going to go in, I might die. But he recognized that my death is worth it if I can take the PA with me. Just beautifully executed there from LGD. Ame also, small thing in the fight, TP's back to base, heals up, uses Aghanim Scepter to jump back into the team fight and get those last couple of kills.
And I mean, it's crazy. We're seeing the power of that Shadow Step. He's in and out consistently. That 30-second cooldown, easily able to do it a couple of times in a team fight.
Yeah, Mira, nice play. Knows there's no stuns that can catch him here, so there's no skewer on the Rubic. He's not going to get caught during that. We have another big interesting item coming up. There's going to be the Holy Locket for the Undying, and once he has Soul Rip maxed out, okay, he already has Soul Rip maxed out, together with the Holy Locket, this healing is ridiculous. So basically the way it works is the more units there are, the more you're going to heal. And with Tombstone and the way it functions, you just spawn a bunch of extra units. So you're almost always going to get that maxed out heal. So any sort of healing tool, together with Spectre's Dispersion, just deals incredible amounts of damage in the team fights. I feel like LGD's draft is really coming together now.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a way that we just haven't seen from them so far in this series. Mid lane, they're looking to jump in onto Toronto Tokyo. Will be able to turn with a quick tornado. The attention from PSG.LGD will turn over towards Mira. Into the Shadow Realm though. They still want to dive this, dropping down the Tombstone. Just full aggression for PSG.LGD, diving past the tier 1 tower. The Rockets, they're coming in on Toronto Tokyo. He's got to get up, but he can't. Arme! He's in straight on top of him.
That's just beautiful. They're abusing these vision tools so nicely. You have the Tombstone, you have the Bloodseeker. There's so many ways to get vision in these team fights.
I mean, this Arme Spectre's looking pretty spooky. He's picking up the kills, the involvement here. PSG.LGD just fighting in a way that we haven't seen from them so far in this series. We'll see the jump forward onto Faith Beyond, underneath the tower, every corner, but the heal comes out. He is trapped in the Static Storm, trying to run, but the Thunder Strike finishes him off. TP's coming in from Spirit, why? Trying to dive in onto Yatoro, another Soul Rip, healing Wire. He's going to stay on top of the PA, but the hits come out. Yatoro takes him down.
He's able to get away. Oh, that was close.
See if they can pick up Mira as well, they can. Nothing to say, in with the laser. And out he goes as well, picking up the action. 2k lead now for PSG.LGD. They're starting to break down Spirit.
Yep, they absolutely are, but a very, very important item is about to come into the game, and that is the PA BKB. He's 100 gold off of it, and he's going to have it in the next team fight. And the way this changes the game is the Tinker can no longer just laser the PA and force him to reset out. Yatoro's going to have 9 seconds where he decides what he wants to do. And if those 9 seconds get him the right kills, that's going to be everything they need in order to win the fight.
And during that time, Yatoro, where's he looking first? Is it sort of this Tinker? Does he have to just commit onto Nothing to Say to eliminate the threat from for the rest of his team?
I mean, the ideal scenario, right, is that you kill the Tinker with the PA BKB, because the only thing really covering you against the Tinker is that BKB. Once that BKB runs out, you're going to see the Tinker lasering you, rocketing you, refreshing, laser rocket again. So the ideal scenario for him is he's allowed to meld and kind of hang around the fight as it breaks out, and then once the Tinker commits in, that's when he jumps.
We've got a smoke coming in from PSG.LGD. They are very ready to fight. Especially with Arme, he's heading back to base, reset, he's ready to shadow step in if he's needed.
Tombstone on the high ground.
Yeah, Collapse is just TPing out. Excellent kinetic field from Eposhka, stops them from being able to chase in. Put a stop to the escape here from Spirit.
Looks like Spirit might want to chase into this though, but they should recognize that Tombstone's been dropped on the high ground, and it might be a hard fight for them.
I mean, Toro, he's going to commit with the BKB. Just goes to work straight away onto Y. He should be able to get this. Yeah, Y's dead for sure. The crit comes in. Y will fall.
LGD are hanging around though. They recognize the importance of this BKB.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a window now to maybe punish if Spirit stick around, but they won't. Back behind the tier 2 tower, Spirit will hold back.
Yeah, it's a tense game. This BKB really is going to be important, so using the first 9-second charge for the Undying, it's okay, but it needs to lead to something, you know? This opens up some time, this gives them some time to farm. Hopefully they can deward some of the vision that LGD are playing with. And if they manage to do these things, and they can reset the map to a position where they can farm up and they can get to the PA shard, they can get these items that the PA needs in order to punish the LGD draft, then it's all good. But if those BKB charges get wasted for support kills that don't lead to more, then it's problematic for them.
PSG.LGD, they're trying to sneak the Roshan. Won't be the quickest though, and already actually deciding that they don't want to spend any further moments committing on Spirit. Potentially around the area, and they are. Spirit more than happy to fight. Blink RP at the ready. The big old Sarah for PSG.LGD though as well. Haunt good to go again for Arme. Few hundred gold away from the Manta style as well.
Yeah, Y leading the charge. All he needs to do is get that Tombstone down before the fight starts, and he's going to do it as soon as the smoke pops.
He's going to pop it down immediately to see what he can find. Will just be Mirror. The Shadow Ram and the TP out will get him away from this, so now no Tombstone for the fight.
Yeah, but he does have that level 10 talent. This was recently added. The minus 15 seconds Tombstone cooldown makes it less of a committal when you use it.
Toronto Tokyo. And he's going to end up walking into the Bloodseeker commit. Faith Beyond just turns straight away upon him. Toronto Tokyo was not prepared for that at all. Just standing there in the mid, and Faith Beyond finds a very tasty surprise.
And now, if the Undying would have had that Tombstone ready, he would have had that ulti ready, you could have seen LGD potentially poking at the Roche. But what they ideally want is for... okay, they actually already do have the Mantle Inspector, so never mind. But that is a big Roche tool. Once you get Mantle Inspector, you have the Desolate to deal true damage to the Roche, and then it goes down very quickly. But they're happy with the pace of the game right now. They're happy with how it's playing out. Shard finished on PA.
He's coming across this tree line. He knows that Nothing to Say is playing here behind the tower. He's going to try for the catch, won't get it. Goes for the attempt, but Nothing to Say out of range.
And power stolen by Rubic as well, by the way, so the Spectre is now matching the PA's farm speed.
About 2k in it at the moment between Arme and Yatoro, but definitely having that ability on their side as well will help him close the gap. Online for the Skadi next after the Manta.
Yeah, intense game, both teams just holding their high grounds, understanding where they're strong, neither of them willing to fight into the other team's vision. If you look at how Y is positioned, he's standing right outside of that ward until he's ready to run in.
Do they want to find this Spirit? They're on the low ground, Tombstone dropped. As soon as it's out, Team Spirit, they'll retreat.
Yeah, I think this is a very intelligent thing that LGD have recognized in this game. They've been dominated in vision for 2 games straight, and they feel like, you know what, maybe they're better at warding than me. How do I solve it? Or collapse. Pick heroes like a vision.
He's going to get the grab on the Faith Beyond. He's going to look down the LP, catches the 2 calls. Sunstrike comes in. They kill off Faith Beyond. The Static Storm is onto Arme, but Yatoro's going to look to bail out. Collapse as well, go for the TP away. Gets out. They all get out on Spirit.
Oh, XinQ just barely missing the RP on the PA there. That would have been a massive kill. But you see this from Spirit, right? As soon as that BKB is ticking low, he has to TP out of the fight.
Yeah, they know exactly when to sort of just get out of there. They get their kill, they get their trade. They know not to push it for anything more. Team Spirit knowing the exact moment to call it quits and reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Yatoro's playing this game excellently. But I do worry, once this BKB starts sticking out, the Tinker's closing in on a Hex, right? So even the threat of potentially jumping on him is going to be hard. You see Yatoro's also buying that Desolator. It's not a Basher. It's not a tool item that will allow him to necessarily kill the Tinker if he has that Hex.
They're going to go for the Roche now. They know there's no RP.
Yeah.
So if they have the damage to take this out and see if Spirit still want to try and make a jump into them.
Yeah, so between the laser, the Mantle Spectre, the Undying damage
Gonna get the
amplification.
fear, quite nicely timed. Roshan is very low. Is there any potential for a steal?
Yeah,
Yatoro?
absolutely. Yatoro might go.
He's not able to get it. He's not able to get it. Arme gets the kill. The Aegis on the Spectre now. Spirit, they've got to be cautious. Yatoro pops the BKB, but he's already been burst so low. Throw out the daggers, but they surrounded by PSG.LGD. Mapochka as well, caught in the river. They couldn't make the jump in time, and Yatoro just getting burst so heavily before he could actually get the BKB off there.
Yep, just excellent gameplay from LGD right now. They're banging on all cylinders.
They are. We did not see anything close to this in the first two games. PSG.LGD finding their confidence, their fire, as they're hitting back hard here in this third game.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like the way that they've approached Vision this game is just so smart. I think this is what they were missing in the first two games. These tools that provide them with Vision, and the adaptation to recognize that is amazing.
And just Arme jumping around the map. Collapsed this time around. The damage too overbearing from Arme and his illusions.
All right, so for the side of Spirit here, I think it's getting increasingly difficult. You're starting to feel the pressure of the Tinker. You recognize that, you know what, there's that Hex, there's that Aghanims, and once my BKB's out, I'm not really sure how to fight into these heroes. And we haven't really seen Toronto Tokyo in this game. He hasn't really had a game, so this Tinker pick from PSG.LGD, it's played out beautifully.
It's definitely turning into a game where, when you look at the farm on the course, a lot is on Yatoro's shoulders, whereas on the side of PSG.LGD, the wealth very evenly split between Nothing to Say and Arme, both of these cores, and it just in combination with one another. Spectre, Tinker, nobody wants to play against a good improving farm. One of those in mid lane is watching Q. He's in, using the RP to catch Yatoro completely off guard. He wasn't ready for that at all. Well, now see them try and turn on with Faith Beyond, but the Soul Reveal comes out. The Meteor crashing down on the Bloodseeker. They find him in return. Mirror dusted in position here. Wide trying to look towards him, but the field holds back the Undying. Mirror gets away, but a quick move there from XinQ.
Yeah, there's still the Haunt ready though if they want to look for more.
See, jump over the wall, Toronto Tokyo. He's out of mana, he's out of luck. Arme continuing to be an absolute beast this game.
The team fights are just so hard for Spirit, and especially if Yatoro isn't there to play the fights for them. They really need him. What a beautiful initiation from the Rubic there with the RP. You know, whiffed the one earlier up top, but gets the more important one here mid.
I mean, they're down 8k at the moment. How on earth do they just approach any sort of team fights now at this stage, with the Spectre just jumping into their faces? And as you say, the vision, the counter abilities from PSG.LGD to just disrupt any sort of move or jump that Spirit are trying to make themselves. It seems that this time round, Spirit, they're the ones in the impossible position.
Yeah, I think they're off balance, right? They probably played this entire tournament playing off of vision advantage, having information advantage. And in this game, they don't. They have one Tinker ward in an area where they can't really punish Tinker. That's far up top. They're not really going to bring their heroes to that side of the map. And then in the bottom area, the only ward that they have to fight around is also an area that you won't really see LGD approaching.
We'll see this move mid. Atos into the rupture. Toronto Tokyo in trouble. They put the BKB. We'll see Arme heading on top of him. We'll get glimpsed back. And we'll give the space for Toronto Tokyo to stand his ground, the rupture to wear off. Looking for setup on the side. They get the catch onto White. Yatoro, he'll commit. Jumps in. Does get caught up by the Hex though. He's jumped in. BKB off in time there. Yatoro, he'll survive. Over to one. Faith Beyond he goes. He won't chase further. The Sunstrike just off the mark. Faith Beyond will live, but so will Yatoro. That time getting so close once again to being burst. The life still coming in big. Did just grab that Paladin sword before that last play. Almost certainly saving his life there with a big burst heals through the crits.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, where did that healing come from? I did not see that coming. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And he gets that second Hex off. That's the one.
Yeah, that was scary.
It's really coming down to, you know, those micro decisions that you make in these team fights. He thought he could get the burst damage out in time. Seemed like the wrong choice this time around.
I mean, 32 minutes in, PSG.LGD still an incredibly comfortable position. Look at the map control as well. They've only lost one tower so far in this 32 minutes. Very impressive control, and just sort of forcing Spirit to almost play a different game that they would have wanted to. It was clear that Spirit came into this wanting to deal with PSG.LGD the same way they have done in the first two of this series. It's not worked this time. Spirit, we're going to have to see something different from them. Something that we have seen before in previous series. but not something they've necessarily brought out today.
Yeah, and if you click on Yatoro, you're going to notice that he's feeling the pressure of the Tinker. That's a refresher queued up.
All right.
And if you think about how PA works, that's really mainly for the BKB. He feels like he needs that extra duration of Black King Bar in order to be survivable in these fights and win the game. So really, if it works out, this will be a genius item. I'm really interested to see how it plays.
Focus around the mid lane here for Spirit.
Oh, what a play by Y. He put his courier on the hill to scout out the ward.
Collapse. It's going to still get the jump on him, but immediately the telekinesis comes out for XinQ. Catching Collapse in the combo. Collapse to go over the TP out, but the ult is there. Yatoro trying to get in with the BKB. He'll turn over towards Ahmed, but Ahmed just jumping all over the place. Yatoro has to go with the BKB TP out. Collapse goes down. Yatoro will be able to save himself. PSG.LGD, they're looking to see if they can chase for more. Fabian trying to run down Toronto Tokyo. But the Invoker, just as speedy as himself, will manage to break away.
What an unbelievable play by Y, though. He just put his courier on this hill, waiting for that ward to come out, recognizing that if they smoke, middle lane's where they're going to go.
I know they're going for more. They're ready to try and get the jump in onto Yatoro, but Yatoro blinking straight over to the safety of Mirror on the high ground. Means they won't get a further catch in. PSG.LGD there now to back off. Still 30 seconds without Collapse.
Yep, the pressure is on. We see nothing to say buying that Aeon disc. He was queuing up the BKB, recognizing though, the problem for me is not really the magic damage. It's potentially getting locked down by the PA and getting bursted. So Aeon disc will solve that problem for him. And their items are just gearing them up to not die. You see also, same thing for Ame. He knows that PA doesn't really want to buy an MKB. It's not an item you traditionally see on the PA. It forces PA to deviate from his standard item build. So buying that butterfly here is going to force the PA to play his game. And now the PA is suddenly reacting to the Spectre's items instead of the other way around.
Because what do you do in this situation now, Yatoro? What is the call with his next item?
It's a hard decision, right?
Yeah.
And this is what LGD are doing so well. They're forcing you into a position where you might make a mistake. Maybe he buys the wrong item. Maybe he now decides to go for the MKB, but then his BKB is too short to fight. Or you're just making this problematic for Team Spirit. You want to make it as hard as possible for Yatoro to do what's right.
And he's even thinking about the Ags as well. A lot of options here for Yatoro.
Yeah, it's a difficult choice. I don't know what the right one is.
We'll see if he does either. A very tough place to play from.
Yeah.
Down 13k. Both nothing to say, and Ame's power just continuing to grow.
And we've talked about this a lot, but you know, Roshan's about to spawn. Heroes start moving over to the top side, secure that area. Y already has the ward down. Notices there are no heroes there. That means we know where Spirit are. An immediate smoke over.
Collapse. Ooh. He's out with a blink. Same can't be said from the Posca though. Disruptor will die. Mirror and Yatoro, this is a bit of a spooky place to be. Yeah, they'll have a poke and then immediate TP out. They're not messing around. They know how quick PSG.LGD is going to be with these responses. Collapse, he's on a cliff. And nothing to say, he's quite happy to join him.
Not really quite sure what was going on there. Maybe he was attempting to de-ward while he saw the hero's bottom and saw the TPs on the tier 1 bot tower. But Roshan has spawned. Click on Y, he has everything ready. Tombstone ready, ulti ready. This Rosh is going to go down extremely quickly as soon as Ame connects over.
I mean, in 50 seconds without Collapse, it's unlikely they're going to be able to do anything without him alive. Is there any world that they buy back to contest this, or they just let this go?
I feel like based on the way they're positioned, it might be hard to get there in time.
Yeah.
So the buyback option probably is not there. It seems like Yatoro now has seen this Tinker buying the Aeon disc, so what does he do? He buys the appropriate item for his response. He's going to go for the nullifier.
All right. So many choices, and Yatoro, he's got to make the right one.
I think Team Spirit have recognized that as long as this Tinker's alive, there's no way that we're going to win the long fight. And we're going to constantly be forced to TP out as soon as Yatoro's BKB ends. And for Team Spirit, I think the way that you need to fight here is you need to set it up in a way where you initiate, force the Tinker to show himself, and then have Yatoro go in. And at the same time, flip side for Team Spirit, for PSG.LGD, you know that your 4-man is stronger. If both Yatoro and the Tinker stay out of the fight, you have the advantage. So just don't show nothing to say too early in a team fight. Allow your team to play the game 4v4, and then come in and beat the PA as soon as he commits.
Again, falling back into a bit of a peaceful era here for Team Spirit, at least, where they don't have any interest in meeting PSG.LGD head-to-head whilst there is the Aegis on Ame.
And for the first time in this game, Spirit has finally been able to establish some sort of vision in the bottom area of the map. We noticed them doing this time after time. When they fall behind, they like to take over the enemy triangle. They feel like it's a comfortable place for them to fight in.
Bottom tower.
And even in this game, you notice it. Here we go again. Up into this radiant triangle, or dire triangle. Wait for the Tinker to show up. If the Tinker comes to that wave, they're going to be right on top of him. But it seems like Nothing to Say has played plenty of Tinker games.
He certainly
Recognizes this is the only way I might get caught.
Yeah, he's got a lot under his belt here, Nothing to Say. As Arme, a quick jump over to the bottom lane, adding another kill to his scoreboard. 9, 1, and 15.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, he's gone for the Haunt Illusion damage on 25.
And we'll see it. Attempt of a play, Yatoro, he's going to get caught out by the bash. And he's got to get out of it, Yatoro, he'll go for the BKB TP out. The disarmament is there under the Spectre, so no chance of a bash. As Yatoro will get out the same, not to be said for Toronto Tokyo though, as Nothing to Say has his number.
I mean, Nothing to Say has really turned it up this game. I mean, I'm really impressed with his Tinker decision making. It's just very, very intelligent. Has not gotten caught a single time farming lanes, I think. And the way he teamfights is just beautiful. He knows what to wait for. He knows who to look for. This is a completely different PSG.LGD.
It really
compared
is.
to the first two games.
It really, really is. It's looking fantastic. This is the power that we've seen from PSG.LGD in the series before, in this run in the upper bracket. And it's coming out just where it's needed the most. They were knocked down hard in the first two games, and I think a lot of people were definitely going to be interested to see if they could somehow regain that control. It's not an easy place to be in, as you said. For them, the pressure incredibly high in this. They will not accept anything less than first place.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another fight brewing. This is the only side of the map that Spirit has wards on. So Spirit are not willing to take this team fight into LGD. I'm really curious what fight they're going to look for. This is the one, I think. Can't go on Ame though. The Aegis protects him.
2 minutes still with that safety on the Spectre.
But yeah, if we think about the mentality of LGD coming into this game, right, the pressure was definitely on them. I mean, Johan and Seb talked about what they saw backstage, what they saw in their expressions. I'm sure this kind of momentum for them is huge. And it's something that you need in order to win TI, right? You need to have that attitude of champions.
Look at this jump. Look at the dust now. BKB, we still see the jump from Arme. He's in with the bash onto Toronto Tokyo. Let's push back with the deafening blast, but they're in with the grab. Nothing to Say. He's in with the nukes.
He's playing with so much confidence on this Tinker. I was talking about how he needs to wait out for the PA, but he recognizes, you know what, there's no way to PA his bottom here, and just full commits into their base.
He's level 26 on this Tinker right now.
He is incredibly farmed. He's going to finish a Bloodstone too, or not Green Core, sorry.
I mean, without a doubt, we saw how much Collapse could do last game when he was just in the lead, ahead, just playing around with his food. He's going to make some big moves here from the defensive position as he is losing teammates around him to the consistent dives from PSG.LGD. He'll try and get the grab hit onto Arme. It's not going to happen. Forced back to the fountain. The PSG.LGD, they've got all the space in the world to push it onto the tier 3. Can Team Spirit get them out of here? There's no buyback on Toronto Tokyo, still down for 30 seconds. And with the up mirror as well, they'll have to, by the looks of it, at least let one set of racks go down here. There's no defense to be had quite yet for Spirit.
That's so hard to fight into this Tombstone. You saw Yasuo kind of thinking about it. He was looking for that potential wraparound, but recognizing that, you know what, my team won't be able to support me. Even if I can catch the Tinker in the backlines, I don't have the power to kill him on my own.
Look how much money he's got. 6k gold in the bank here. Nothing to Say. He can really start picking up whatever he wants now. Just filling up those inventory slots.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishes up that Octarine core. Just wants the mana pool. Ooh.
Have a momentary pause here. 15 to 30. 24,000 net worth lead for PSG.LGD. The numbers looking very good for them right now.
I have a hard time. I'm trying to think of scenarios for Spirit. It feels difficult to find a way to do it. But I really like this choice from Yatoro. I think this refresher could be genius. It could just be the thing that they need.
I mean, the problem is, even if they get these kills right on the defensive Team Spirit, it's a Spectre and a Tinker. You kill these heroes, they're buying back, their boots are traveling over. They're haunting in, they're shadow stepping back into the action. Killing them once is not going to be enough. PSG.LGD will use the opportunity to get in and destroy you, even if they lose a core at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're totally right about that, Owen, and that is why they are so far ahead, right? They have all these options, they have all of these tools, but if anything could potentially catch them off guard, I mean, PA refresher, when have you seen that? I think once that BKB runs out, expect Nothing to Say to blink in to be ready to hex. And if he gets that refresher off, if Nothing to Say didn't click on a PA, that could mean his death.
I mean, it would be quite something if this build does have the impact possible. But will it be enough? It seems like a pretty big ask here when they're as down as much as they are in this game 3.
Let me tell you, as a player in this position, these kind of pauses, it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. It throws you off your momentum.
Well, for who? The team that's ahead or behind?
I mean, I'd say for both. I think it's really sad for both sides. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, Spirit's getting an advantage, but when you are playing like the pressure, you're playing with the way LGD are, your mind is so zoned in into thinking, what are they doing now? Where are they moving next? How far could they have potentially gotten in the time that it's gone from me last seeing them on the map? And all of these small micro senses that you have where, like, let's say Yatoro shows on the top lane and then 15 seconds passes, you know where Yatoro approximately could be because you know how fast the hero moves. Everything like that, it's thrown off by this kind of pause. And that's why usually if you think about it, after pauses in pro games, you see somebody getting picked off or somebody making the wrong judgment call. And it's because this like micro senses that you're used to playing off of gets thrown off.
Especially in a game such high stakes here as the grand finals, the International 10. Spirit, as you can see, up 2-0 right now in this best of 5. Well, as this game 3 goes, looks like PSG.LGD will be able to stop the potential of a 3-0 clean sweep here for Spirit.
I just really hope there's no initiation in the next 30 seconds after this pause, because that would really suck for both sides.
There we go. Ready to get the action back on its way, ladies and gentlemen.
I can feel my heart pounding with that on pause there.
You know how the players are feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looks like hopefully there's no initiation here, so we survived the pause.
Pretty far away from one another. Yatoro, just a recipe away from the refresher, so you certainly want to get that done. Ideally, maybe hit the 25 if he can before the next fight is forced.
Which talent do you take though? The coup de grace is great, you get more damage, but the tripling stifling dagger might just catch out a support and one-shot it while you're not paying attention.
I feel like the coup de grace might be it because you got to kill someone. I mean, one of your items is a refresher. You're not maxed out on the damage.
Yep, you're
making sure that the crits are hitting harder. Could be pretty essential here for Yatoro. But then again, the triple is nice if you know like mega creeps are going to be coming in if you feel like you're losing some lanes of barracks and you need to push back out. So
I'm also thinking for the team fight, right? How we know that Yatoro has to wait out. He can't fully commit straight at the start because then he'll be forced to waste his BKB.
And maybe they do have, of course, the Empower. You know, the triple stifling daggers with the Empower on them. That's pretty nasty.
Quick fingers from Toronto Tokyo, but he's caught.
Yeah, they're going to catch it. BKB, he'll try and walk away. See if he's able to make it out. He's been ruptured. He's going for the TP out, but the BKB comes to an end. And so does his escape. He'll try and hold them back with a tornado, but there's nothing more to hold them back with. Yatoro, he's going to be the new focus. Static Soul from Imposter down into the trees to try and stop the chase. Fabian coming in with the BKB, but Yatoro will manage to make it out. Imposter as well in the trees, hidden out as he TPs.
Yeah, beautiful reset there from Team Spirit. I actually thought they were going to have way more casualties, but quick fingers from Yatoro, blinking on top of Mboshka. Great team play there with the Static Storm to cancel. Tinker potentially chasing for more kills.
There you go. So yeah, he has taken the chance here, hamming up the damage. The gold for that refresher of just a few hundred away.
I'm so excited for this refresher.
Just if some sort of big brain play comes out.
Exactly. I want to know how it plays out. And now he has it.
He does.
Immediate smoke up.
They would have seen him building, of course, where the perseverance is, but it's just a question of whether Nothing to Say in particular is ready for it to be complete for the next fight. As you mentioned, if he's out of position, he comes in with a second round of BKB and Nullifier. It could be deadly for Nothing to Say. You know, man on his Tinker who's had a pretty free game so far, jumping all over the place and bursting down the lineup of Team Spirit.
Yep. BKB finished on Y. This Undying is not easy to bring down.
Now look at his positioning as well, just having any chance of Spirit being able to make a move from their triangle.
I mean, the problem really for Spirit, like, how do you kill the other heroes? If not PA. If PA can't commit on them, how does anything die?
Of course, PSG.LGD there. Going to be feeling very comfortable. Nothing to say in Arme. More than happy to farm up sort of their 6th item. Looking for the Orchid into the Bloodthorn here for Arme. Nothing to say. Getting close to having the comfort of the overwhelming blink, maybe even holding on for his buyback as well.
He's caught.
He has been quiet. He needs help and he needs it now. The BKB comes out. He has been ruptured though. Not much that he can do, and Arme, he's in with the illusion, surrounds him. No way for Yatoro to get out. And of course he did spend up on the refresher, so 100 seconds, no buyback on the PA.
Yep, LGD firing back strong. What a catch from Faith Beyond. And man, I feel like it just all ties back to the vision. This game, PSG.LGD had vision. They were playing on even terms for most of the game. And
oh, Collapse, he tries to make the move, but the counter's there. XinQ with an instant lift holds him in his tracks. As it's another core out of the game. Collapse and Yatoro, no way of returning for this defense.
Skewer back on Mira.
They get the grab. Mira also to be blown up outside of the base. 3 dead on Spirit. PSG.LGD, they're up to the racks.
That's gotta be so satisfying for XinQ.
Oh yeah.
Collapse with that mag, just constantly skewering them back. And now finally he gets to do it himself.
Yeah, Collapse giving XinQ the respect as well there. With the words of Purge in the tip. I mean, this is what the PSG.LGD fans expected to see from them in this grand finals. They just took a bit of time to turn up today. Needed a bit of warm-up. The first 2 games, that was that. But this game 3, full power here. Even just into the base, Arme just killing off poor old Maposhka.
And LGD are playing with such confidence. But at the same time, patience. Whenever they need to slow down, you know they're doing it. Oh, the immediate roach spawn. Nice. They're very happy about this, I'm sure.
And nothing to be done about this from Spirit whatsoever. So fall straight into the hands of PSG.LGD. As we'll see, poor old Maposhka has tried his best to defend against the creeps, and then suddenly an Arme appears on top of him, disappears as quickly as he appears. But the job is done. Maposhka taken out. No place is safe right now from this Spectre.
Yep, and the Rubic gets the Aghanim's scepter. This is probably one of my favorite Aghanims in the game. It's always a great feeling when you have it as Rubic. So one of the cool things about this that I don't think we've ever talked about is when you spell steal, and most teams aren't aware that you have an Ag, they kind of think, all right, Rubic used it. You hear the bling sound, and then you're, okay, I can use my spells however I want. But with the Ags, that throws it off. That just makes it easier for you to get those big steals that you want to get. So highly doubt Team Spirit to be ready for this, but to be fair, they've had a lot of time to sit in the base. Usually what you do during this time is you're starting to discuss everything. What is it that LGD can do? How do they approach this fight? What are they going to be looking for? What are we looking for? What are our objectives here? Which heroes do we need to go on? What spells do we need to save? All these things should be discussed for Spirit, and they should have a structured fight in mind here, because you can predict what's going to happen.
I mean, 40,000 gold down right now, Spirit. PSG.LGD. It looks like a pretty smooth sailing here to the victory. Is there really anything the Spirit can pull off whilst this far behind?
I mean, it's a matter of finding the Tinker. I really think so. Of course, you can always win. In Dota, I feel like you always have the option of winning. And especially in late game, yeah, there's 40,000 net worth differentiating you, but there's no amount of net worth that will make up for a bad positioning or, you know, the clutch play. So formations is really important here for LGD. And if Yatoro can find some sort of backline kill, that could open the fight up entirely.
Approaching the final set of barracks. Here to jump in underneath the tier 4s. They're in on him, Maposhka. He's gone. Collapse will try and jump in with the skewer back onto Arme. Yatoro's coming in on the front lines with the BKB, but he's picked this up. Gets the Phantom Knives off. Now turns everyone's wide, but look how much HP Wide's got. Yatoro. The refresher doesn't want to commit for another round. Nothing to save him with the H. They've locked down Yatoro. Yatoro in a fall. Buyback at the ready. Instant smoke up from Spirit. Mira. To set things up with the curse crown. They get the glimpse back. And looking for the skewer, but he's actually able to get her here with a Manta. Arme won't be grabbed back yet. Steps back to the safety of his team. PSG.LGD still respecting the buybacks here from Spirit. They won't instantly push in onto the melee racks, but the rocket spam begins from nothing to say. Yator, he's going to look to try and jump outside of the base. He's able to jump onto XinQ. He's going on for nothing to say, but nothing to say. Gets the blink off in time. Back out of the high ground he goes, but Arme trying to get in. They get the skewer. Arme, he's in the fountain. Anthony Hopper, that's not Arme. They've got him. He's in the fountain. Can he get out? He cannot. They've done it the once. Can they do it again? It's just the three of them. The meatball's coming down. He needs help. He's in the fountain and it isn't his own. Oh, he was attempted, but the Yules is there to stop the play. Arme, he'll be getting out of the fountain alive. GG is called, and PSG.LGD will take this game 3.
I love Dota so much, Owen. That was so beautiful. Everything happened. You got the skewer into the fountain.
Oh my goodness.
The fountain. They try to blink the skewer in again, but no, the Yules. And then the stolen skewer, and you pull out a hero of your own.
They do.
Into the GG.
Wow. I mean, they fought right up until the end here in this game 3, Spirit, but they were too far behind. PSG.LGD. I mean, this is them looking phenomenal and completely in the comfort zone. Something that, after seeing the first 2 games, it was understandable to sort of doubt if we were actually going to see them get to this place, but they have. They've hit back so hard.